One, first thing you want to do is put your hook in the vise. Nice thing to do, make sure that you got the hook in there correctly. Everybody be real quiet, no noise.
For those who don't know, tell them who bought Clouser.
All right, just listen. Y'all hear that?
Yeah.
That's what it should make a nice sound like that if it's firmly and securely in the vise. If you see, it even moves when you take it out of the, if it's, you can hear the difference in the tone. So that's always a nice test. All right, first thing you want to do is attach your thread. I like to keep the eye open. Don't crowd it too soon. Bob Clouser's another one of the famous Pennsylvanians. Had a shop down in Middletown, but he's up there with Lefty Cray and Joe Humphreys and all the pioneers. He developed this fly to fish for bass on the Susquehanna in that area of Pennsylvania. So with the dumbbell eyes on top, the hook rides hook up so that you have less tendency to get snagged on the bottom. Now, one of the hardest things to do is to get your eye placement. So you want to take your time with this part. If you have it too far back, it's going to have a huge nose. If it's too far forward, then you're not going to be able to tie in your bucktail material. So I like to end my thread kind of where I want my eyes to be, right about there. Now the book says to make a couple bumps on either side of where you want. If you all could see that, then the barbell eyes will lay right in between those two, like that. Everybody looks like they're catching up. That might even be a little too far back. Okay, everybody got the bumps in place. Now you just lay the dumbbell eyes in the middle, and then you just start making like figure 8 wraps, crisscross wraps. One that way, couple that way, and a couple, just exit out. I only got like 4 wraps on there. That's enough to kind of hold it in place.
so for trout, you wanna drop the size quite a bit, but this is outstanding for bass. I've caught, sorting it up, I've caught bluegill, crappie, perch,
Sure. We took it down to saltwater too.
down in the ocean. That this will work in any body of water. Yes. And depending on the color, I mean. You
Yeah,
can-
caught Spanish
you put more
mackerel
black,
with
you
it.
put, flatheads, you put more white and chartreuse, you got emerald shiners.
Yeah, or pike too.
Yeah.
Chartreuse and white or red and white are the best colors to use. But olive and white works too. I mean, purple and white. I use orange and blue. It works.
No, you?
Lefty Cray had a saying that if it ain't chartreuse, it ain't no use.
Yeah.
Got lots of stripers on it.
All right. Everybody's got their eyes attached. Now, another thing that you want to do to improve is to make a few wraps underneath the eyes. I kind of pinch the hook so it doesn't move, and I'm putting a lot of tension on my thread with my bobbin. And that just adds a little more. Now, if you have Zap-A-Gap glue, or I use the UV stuff. I don't, right in this step, I don't like to use too much. I just like to put some right where the eye meets where the thread meets the hook. Just because I'll be adding more in a minute. Yeah, super glue, Zap-A-Gap, any of that. All right, now you always want your belly the lighter color, but it doesn't, you can make, flip-flop it, but usually you want the lighter, the white color as your belly color.
And remember, this fly swims upside down. So if you're thinking belly, it's gonna be the opposite.
So we're putting the belly on top, because this fly, when you fish it, is gonna be upside down like that. Now when you're taking the deer hair from the bucktail, your longer fibers are gonna be at the bottom. Now this is a bigger fly, so I like the longer fibers. Everybody has their eyes on, correct? Oh, all right. Well, I'm just talking. I'm not. I'm. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to put a whole lot of that glue on there. Just a drop.
Shad and the stripers was eating and they were still fishing. So I'm tired. One thing that he's written in his
Now, if you were. This size hook is good for like saltwater fish, your bass, and stuff like. I mean, not that I have bluegills eat. This is a size 1. I usually tie them in a 1/0 or a 2/0, and I have bluegills eating that big of a hook. I mean, I wouldn't target them. If you were fishing them for trout, I would tie them with a longer streamer hook, because the trout tend to take a fly at the tail, and the bass tend to take the eye. So if I'm tying this for bass, I'm gonna keep like a longer tail like that. But now if I'm tying them for trout, I'd want a longer streamer hook so that the hook goes to about that part of the tail. You see what I mean? That way when they come up at the tail, they can get the hook. But I'm tying those in maybe a size 10 or 12 streamer hook. I'm using a small streamer hook when I tie them for trout. When you take your belly hair, you're taking the white hair first. Just pinch off you want this very sparse. You don't have to put a lot of material into this fly. Like, you see how much hair I have here, and I'm gonna lose probably half of that. Cause you can see these shorter fibers and stuff. I just want the long ones. And if they're too long, then I just pull them out. When I get to where the shorter fibers are there, then I'll pinch the tail like that. See, now I just pulled all that out. It'll just give you a neater looking fly. You won't have all these shorter hairs sticking out everywhere. So now once you get the belly hair that you want, measure it out on the hook. I usually like at least 1.5 times the length of the hook. Sometimes I'll put twice the length of the hook into my tail.
And unlike polar fleece, polar fiber, craft fur, things like that, when you get those fibers wet, they mat down on each other and they make a very slim profile. Deer hair, on the other hand, is very stiff. It doesn't stick to itself. So you want to put it on a little bit sparse because it's going to keep a little bit of flare, and it gives the minnow pattern if it looks too bulky, it's not going to look natural. If you look at a minnow in the water, they're very slim, they're very low profile. So you don't want a lot of fiber.
And you want to start sparse on the belly because on the top wing, you're going to use almost twice the amount that you did for the belly. So now I moved my thread I like to keep my thread in front of the eyes when I attach the belly. That's about how long I want it to be. So once I get it there, I just make one wrap. And I'll catch that on top, maybe take a second wrap. Then I come under into the behind the eye and capture that hair down good like that. Now, for almost all my Clousers, I use red thread. That's a good thread because it gives a red nose to it and the head. But then also when you tie down this hair, in the next step, you'll see the design that goes into it. But since I'm tying mine in orange and blue, I like to have blue thread. Oh, excuse me.
So much better in this setup because everybody's underneath the light. It's really nice. If you were in place this way, I always set. Yeah. Right this way. But the rest of
Okay, now once
nice.
you get it secured behind the head, I like to bring my bobbin like this so that the thread's going like at a 45-degree angle, and you make X's. I usually go 4, and then when I get to the bend of the hook, I'm gonna wrap completely around, and that secures. Now you come back and go the other way, completing your X's over the top. And then bring the threads back to the front of the eye.
All right, now while you're right there,
Yep.
once you get your clip, let's rotate. Can you see the X pattern on the back there? Get up and walk around.
they're doing it all. It's the first session of the year, so it has to be. Well, if I felt like it, but wait, if you did browns, you'd have to have two of them, one to shit on, the other covered up with. See, I don't say that about the Sabres. Huh? I said I don't say. He said, "Why don't you do it in Sabres colors?" And then he goes, "Well, why don't you do it in Cleveland Browns colors?" I go, "If you did it in Browns colors, you'd need to do it two of them, one to shit on, the other covered up with." But I won't say that about the Sabres because I respect it. They're a good hockey team. There's everything. Their fans are great. Well, they're hockey fans, unlike most Penguins fans. All right. Now, once I'm at this step, I usually like to put a little glue on the deer hair that's on the eye, and then covering my X's. Just a little bit. A little bit goes a long way.
Yeah, we'll get there. He had another appointment this morning, or he would have probably been here, but I had to be here an hour and a half early, so he wasn't doing that.
I like to glue this section of the fly because once you start catching fish, this is the part that usually gets chewed up and it doesn't look good when you got individual hairs start coming out and breaking. And Tim, the X's, one for each Stanley Cup that the Islanders have won. So you know there's 4 X's. You get right. Sabres don't have an X, do they? They almost did. We ought to tie a Brett Hull's foot.
And you're not going to put that pattern on the top, so that anchors the belly flat to the bottom. Yeah, exactly.
All right, now once everybody's caught up and got the belly tied on, I'll just be waiting until everybody stops to go forward.
There you go. Got it.
Okay, everybody's caught up? All right, now at this point you want to turn your hook over. Now we're going to add our flash to it. Again, you want it sparse. You don't need 10, 20 strands of flash. 2 or 3 at the most, because we're going to fold it in half so it'll be doubled. So 2 or 3 strands of flash is all you need. All right, everybody all set. So now again, the way I like to put the flash on, put it around the thread, about in the middle, and then it'll sit right on top when you tighten up your tension. And then just secure it with a couple wraps. Don't even, just 2 wraps. Because right now you're just getting it set in place. Oh. Again, just like with all flies, the more wraps you put in the thread, the bulkier it's gonna be. And then when you get to the end, you're gonna be too bulky because you put 10 wraps when you only needed 1 or 2.
Material, right.
It might be worth mentioning that, and all kinds of color combos will work.
Whoop, ooh, don't break them.
This one is Carl's, and, that's Carl's favorite combo.
Chartreuse and, oh,
Chartreuse and yellow, absolutely.
or no, oh, chartreuse and all. Is there yellow or chartreuse?
Either or.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, for your own knowledge. They all catch fish.
Yeah, for sure.
Usually, I do really well on all colors.
Red, white, and chartreuse and white. Yeah, oh, yeah.
I can't wait for it.
I know.
I'm gonna go earlier this year.
Sure. Oh, yeah, as soon as the water starts getting like 50 degrees.
Bill and I, we started too late. We did it.
Now, the reason we're tying this fly today is it's one of the first flies you're going to start using in the spring. Like when you go out for bass and that, you're not on the top water. It's too cold. You want to use stuff that's under the water, and the Clouser works great. Right. It'll catch it. It'll catch anything, anywhere.
Put all the fish that are causing nerves into the house.
Yeah, it would be everything. All right, everybody's almost. I see some people still dealing with flash. We're around the thread, bend it in half, and then when you take your bobbin and roll it to the top, and just secure it with a couple wraps. All right, everybody's caught up now. We've got your flash on. Oh, you tied the flash on in front of the eyes, I think, Ron. You put them on behind. All right, next for your wing. Again, you want to take about twice as much as you did for the belly. All right, so now once you're doing the same measurements as you did for the tail with the wing. Again, I'm trying to get those shorter fibers out of there, so I'm just left with all nice long fibers. And you want you want the wing just slightly longer than the belly is. So when you match it up, not too hard to see like that. Now when I attach my thread, again, I just want to wrap over. You want to keep this hair on top. I'm adding tension, and then I wrap backwards towards the eyes.
Like I said, we're just doing it. So we're looking at rotating roughly 30 people per week, if it all goes right. 10 volunteers from one statistic.
For what I said, you're not doing it, bro.
Any sport, all of it. I've got donation in kind.
No, no.
For the sausage guy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what happens is with the in-kind, I've got it right here. We fill that form out, that gets sent to headquarters, and they get a letter that they can use towards their tax write-off or filing taxes. So we fill this form out saying you donated $100, $500, whatever, in meat, doesn't matter, in kind of, as long as it's not cash. It's cash, it goes to headquarters, which goes to a general fund which we're already getting, so it doesn't help us. Okay, so gift cards, donates a lot, goes on that, we send that to headquarters, headquarters gets the credit for the donation. Big picture, IRS gets it as a donation, and then they get the confirmation that it's due to the program, it's being used the right way, and it's reported to the IRS. So it covers kind of everything, and the same with you. No, there's no need. No, because it helps us show that we have an inflow. If you just hand it to me, I still have to report it. So that gives you the credit, saying if you give it, that makes me accountable. 50-50 with that.
Whoop.
Okay, I'm gonna pause this for a minute.